Hello, children. So, today's topic is about errors. Okay, so this is a topic that comes under measurement of values or observations. So, let us see what errors are and into which or into how many categories we can put the errors into. Okay, so basically, error is a term which is always related or which always is related to the deviation of a measurement from its actual value or anything. When you consider, if you want to find out the length of a normal body or a regular body, say for example a cube. So if you want to find out this side or one side of a cube, whenever you take the measurement, there will always be an error related to it because our measurements cannot be perfect. So there can be several reasons for this error to occur. So let us find out the different reasons that may occur or different types of error that may creep into our observations and in the that can get reflected in our final result. So errors are basically defined as the deviation of the observed value from the true value. Then what is true value? True value is the actual value of that particular measurement. So it may be a standard value or it can be the average of several values taken. So when you are every time the standard value will not be available. So suppose in the case of surface tension of water, we know the surface tension of water, we have a standard value for the surface tension of water. Suppose you take the case of resistivity of copper or resistivity of iron or any other metallic wire, we have standard values for these things. But some things, they don't have the standard value, as in the case of this cube. You may not have the standard value. So when you don't have the standard value or true value to be compared it with, so what we consider is we take a set of measurements and take the average of this, and that can be taken as the true value. So the error is always the observed value minus the true value. It is observed value minus the actual value. Okay, and it can be negative or positive. If there is an error, then it will have a value. So it is the observed value minus the true value, or you are going to compare the observed value with the actual value. So if there is an error, then we have to identify the error, in which category this error has occurred, and how to eliminate, or we cannot actually completely eliminate errors, occurrence of errors, but we can reduce it, or how to reduce or minimize the occurrence of errors. So let us see into how many types we can categorize errors. Okay. So basically we have three kind of errors. One is systematic error, the next is random error, and finally we have least count error. So under systematic error itself, we can categorize or classify it into instrumental error, imperfect experimental errors arising due to imperfect experimental techniques, and finally the personal error. So first let us see one by one the systematic error. What systematic errors are? Systematic errors are those errors which tend to occur in one direction, that is either positive or negative, and it has a constant size and sign for the error. That is, I'll make it a little bit more clear for you. Systematic errors, they occur in a kind of observation, in the sense that they can be either positive or negative. That is, in one observation, if it is positive, the other it is not negative. It can happen in one direction only. Okay, and it will have a size in the sense that it will have a magnitude. That is, when you take the difference, you will have a magnitude for that error, and you can have a sign for that error, that it can be positive or negative. So systematic errors tend to occur in one direction. It can either be positive or negative. Okay, and it has a magnitude as well as sign for the error. Okay, now systematic errors, when you consider systematic errors, we can classify systematic errors as instrumental error, imperfect errors that occurs due to imperfect experimental techniques, and finally personal error. So first let us see what instrumental errors are. Instrumental errors, as the name implies, it is related or associated with the instrument we use or the device we use for measuring that observation. Okay, so instrumental errors occur due to the any faulty instrument or any faulty design of the instrument. So we know that devices are calibrated. The devices may be calibrated. So in the case of a ruler, the normal ruler or a vernier calipers or a screw gauge, we know that there are uh, scales or calibrations on that particular instrument, and this calibration may not be perfect, or it can happen due to the imperfect design of this particular instrument. So that will keep on repeating in our observations. That is, if you are finding out a measurement using an instrument which has faulty calibrations or faulty graduations, then that error will occur repeatedly. So we can eliminate these kind of errors, instrumental errors, by using good quality instruments and go for standard calibrations of the instruments. Okay. Now, next is imperfect experimental techniques. That is, we can adopt different techniques for finding out a result or taking observations and finally finding out the result of the experiment. So, we can adopt, there may be 2 or 3 or several experimental theory with which we can find out a particular result. So in that, you have to adopt the most perfect or most standard method for finding out a measurement. Say, suppose you are going to find out the human body temperature. So when you find out the human body temperature using a thermometer kept under the armpit will always give you a little lower value than when it is kept inside your mouth. So keeping the thermometer inside the mouth is always a better option for recording the temperature. So these kind of experimental techniques, it is up to us to choose which method will lead you to a perfect result. Okay. So and finally we have the personal error. Personal error arises due to a person's or individual bias or a person's negligence, or you can say that the way in which he is approaching the experiment, or the how he is setting up the apparatus. And also, if it goes on, if a person is really negligent or careless about finding out a measurement, then that error will always occur with that person doing that experiment, and it will finally reflect in that person's experiment or in the final result. So in that case, we can reduce that kind of personal errors by being more cautious or careful and taking necessary precautions while doing the experiment. And next is the random error. That is another category of error. Random, as the name implies or the term implies itself, it is random in nature. That is, it cannot be predicted. That these kind of errors can occur anytime, anywhere. Okay. So inside a lab, we have certain external conditions like pressure, wind, voltage fluctuations, etc. Suppose if that is, while doing an experiment, suddenly sudden onset of voltage fluctuations may affect the reading we are taking. Okay, so these random errors cannot be eliminated completely, but it will of course creep into the observations we are taking. So that the nature of random errors is that they are unpredictable, or it can arise due to unavoidable situations. Okay, finally is the least count error. So in order to understand what least count error is, you first have to understand what least count is. Least count is the lowest value or the smallest value that can be measured using an instrument. So there is a general equation to find out the least count of an apparatus or any instrument. The general equation is least count is equal to value of one main scale division divided by total number of divisions. So you can go for this general equations in order to find out the least count of any instrument. Now, in the case of vernier calipers or screw gauge, there are two scales apart. That is, apart from the main scale, there is an additional scale which will give you more precise or more accurate measurement. So a vernier calipers, when compared to a normal scale or normal ruler, it is more precise or a highly resolved instrument. So when you consider vernier calipers, the vernier constant or the least count is given by value of one main scale division. That is, one main scale division is 0.1 centimeter, that is just 1 millimeter, which is again divided into 10 other divisions, 10 equal divisions. So the least count will be 0.01 centimeter. So the least count of a vernier calipers is otherwise known as vernier constant. It is given by this formula, value of one main scale division, that is 1 millimeter. That is 1 millimeter is again divided into 10 equal parts. So it is divided by 10. It is 0.01 centimeter for a vernier calipers. Coming to screw gauge, the least count is given by another formula. Least count of a screw gauge is given by pitch divided by total number of divisions. Number of divisions on the circular scale. Divisions on the circular scale. That is, pitch is a term given to the distance moved by the screw when it undergoes one full rotation. So it is 1 millimeter. I'll give you a detailed practical session in order to demonstrate all these experiments. So let us know, pitch is the distance moved by the screw of a screw gauge when it completes one full rotation. It is 1 millimeter, and 1 millimeter is that is, while going through a rotation of 1 millimeter, it is actually going through 100 equal divisions. That is, 1 millimeter is again divided into 100 divisions. So it is actually 0.01 millimeter, and usually the least count is always expressed in the unit in which the main scale is graduated or main scale is calibrated. So in the case of a vernier calipers, it is graduated or calibrated in centimeters, while in the case of a screw gauge, it is calibrated in millimeters. So that is why we have expressed the least count of a screw gauge in millimeter. So least count error is the error associated with the least count of an instrument. Suppose we don't know the error up to what extent this error occurs in an instrument. It will occur of the order of the least count of the instrument. That is, you will have an error of the order of the least count of that instrument. Suppose you don't know the error in that instrument, then you can consider the least count as the error in that instrument itself. So the magnitude of the error will be of the order of the least count of the instrument. So that is how that is the relevance or the significance of least count error is. That is, it is directly related to the resolution of the particular device or instrument you are using in order to take the observation. So least count error actually comes under random, but it can be categorized under both the type of errors, that is systematic as well as random error. So least count error can come under systematic or random error. So in the case of the least count error, which will always be of the order of the, that is, a more precise or a highly resolved instrument will have low error. Okay, because high resolution means you have low value of the least count. So smaller the value of least count, highly resolved the instrument will be. That is, here in the case of screw gauge, when you compare the resolution of screw gauge and the vernier calipers, we can see that the least count of a vernier calipers is 0.01 centimeter, while in the case of screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter or 0.001 centimeter. So you can easily say that a screw gauge is more precise or more resolved instrument when compared to a vernier calipers. You have much more sophisticated or highly resolved instruments in order to take measurements. So it is our choice to go for highly resolved instruments in order to reduce or minimize the errors occurring in a particular observation.